Hey guys, welcome to another Moto Drain review. If you're curious about the differences between the Tiger 850 Sport and the GT Pro or the other 900 Tigers, stick around. Okay, this is going to be a really short video. It's a follow-up to a ride that I did with Matt from Cascade Moto Classics. So thank you to Matt for helping me come out and shoot. We actually did a video that we sent to Triumph to promote the Tiger 850 Sport, and then we sat down and we discussed what we thought about the two bikes. I wanted to give you my unfiltered, unbiased opinion as it is, and I'm just a consumer like you, so let's get on to it. Now, the Tiger 850 Sport is a 2021 model that had followed the 2020 models of the 900 GT Pro and Rally Pro and the little variants in between. Now, it was marketed as a budget-friendly version of these bikes, slightly detuned. But we'll get into that and we'll talk about the engine and the real differences between the two bikes. Let's start with the engine. First of all, the engines, both 888cc. They are the T-plane setup, so it's got that nice grunt at the low, and it's got a clean linear rev range right through the mid, and it kind of falls up top. But I see it as an improvement from the 800s and 1200s before. I've owned an 800, I now own a 1200. That's a 2012, so it's an older bike. You get the picture. Now, the difference in power is about 10 horsepower, and they calculate that at different places in the rev range on the spec sheet. So it's not at 8,500 RPM and 8,500. It's 8,500 RPM and 8,750. Now, I'm here to tell you I did not perceive a difference really between the two bikes, except for maybe at the higher end of the rev range, and it was so subtle I couldn't even tell if I was really perceiving it or if it was in my imagination. They are so similar in power. It's comical to me that they listed it this way. It reminds me a lot of how they used to derate like Dodge Hemi motors back in the day, so that I guess for insurance reasons or for tagging reasons, they would say, "Oh, it's only this much horsepower," and of course they would give like a place in the rev range that wasn't complementary to the vehicle. So to me, I think they're the same bike. So awesome way to get some value power in your garage. Let's get on to the real changes. Going to the transmission, both 6-speed, both slipper assist. However, on the GT Pro, you do get the quick shifter up and down. Now, I believe there's an option for that you can get for your 850 Sport. I don't know what the cost is of that, so you'll have to talk to your dealer. But I believe you can upgrade that. Not that you really need it. I mean, even when I'm on a bike with an up and down assist, I'm still, grabbing the clutch. So, force of habit at this point. Onto the chassis, no differences. But when we get into the suspension, we do see a little more travel in the 850 Sport, but we see a much more refined Marzocchi suspension. They're both Marzocchi. You see a more refined one on the GT Pro because you get that rear electronic suspension. It auto levels. It has ride modes. Another difference that sort of correlates with that is in the IMU. So you are getting ABS, cornering ABS. So you get an upgraded system when that's really more brakes, but to me it all kind of ties together. So onto the wheels. They're both the same size wheel. Would have preferred to see a 17-inch on the 850 Sport personally, something more on the sport side of road riding, but hey, this is what it is. The oddity here is that since they both have the same size wheels, on the GT Pro we get Metzler Torrance Next tires, an excellent touring / performance tire. I run those on my 1200, my 800. I prefer them to the Michelin PR 4s and 5s. I just think they handle better personally. But hey, teach their own there. This is an odd one. We have Michelin Anarchy Adventure tires on the 850 Sport. You don't even get it. That tire should go on the Rally Pro. But the Rally Pro comes with the Metzlers as well, which is pretty funny to me that the really aggressive off-road tire, well, it's not really that aggressive, but more aggressive than a Metzler Torrance, comes on the 850 Sport. And it's actually a pretty good road tire I found in my ride. I was really happy with the way it cornered, and the grip was good. And I guess, hey, you can take the dirt roads right out of the box. I would recommend, however, that you do put a skid plate and some armor and maybe some bark busters on your bike if you're going to take it off-road. I've seen people shred these off-road. I actually think that's the best potential use out of this bike, is a budget Triumph adventure bike that you don't pay 16 grand for and have to worry about tearing up off-road. It's right in line with the V-Strom or this some other middleweight bikes out there. So from a cost perspective, that's great. Brakes across the two bikes, they're like the same. We're talking Brembo Stylema 4 pistons up front and a single piston Brembo in the back. It's a great system, and I can't believe they brought it straight across. I would have expected Nissan or some brand, Triumph branded calipers. Nope, they put the Brembos on. Awesome. Only difference again, ABS, lean sensitive ABS is on the GT Pro, not on the 850 Sport. I've never had a bike with that anyway, so that's up to you if that's important to you. Another thing is there's more ride modes on the GT Pro. So if that's important to you, that's what you're going to have to deal with. You basically have very basic ride modes on your 850 Sport, and probably very limited with regard to disabling your ABS system. So if you are going to go off-road, that could be a hang-up, because a lot of people like to turn that off, especially going downhill. You don't want something to keep letting the bike roll, So seriously, talk to your dealer about that if you're planning on taking it off-road. That could be the main issue. Again, that being said, I've seen people off-road these, so it's totally doable. As far as your dimensions and your capacities, it's all the same. The seating height range is the same. You've got 31.9 inches to 32.7 inches. It's got a little bar under the seat. Pop that dude in there and you can change it to whatever you want. The old Triumphs had them, some just in the back, some had front and back, so you could kind of tilt the seat around. In this case, I believe it's just one bar, and you pull the seat off, it's got a little stretchy bit, and you just kind of pull the bar out and put it into the other slot. So you can decide what seat height is good for you, and it seems like a bike that's pretty good for, all around. I'm 6'3", and it fit me okay. Frankly, I would like the Tigers to be a little taller, but I am very aware that I am not in the average rider height size, so definitely they've got to do what works for the majority of people. So at this time, I'm unaware of a low model like they've had in the past with the 800s. We'll have to see if that is to come. And with that, let's get into some final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts on the Tiger 850 Sport. Well, a lot of bang for the buck. It's a great value. If you're looking for an intro level bike, this, especially adventure range, this would be a really good option. And competing against some of the Japanese adventure bikes and Italian adventure bikes and German adventure bikes, the value of this is outstanding, because that motor, to me, the shining point of this bike is the motor. That being said, of course, it handles great. The balance is far better than it used to be on the 800s and on my 1200. But for $11,995, you're getting a lot of bike, and you can upgrade it as you want. Biggest hang up being no cruise control. I use that all the time. So personally, I really like cruise control. It's electronic fueling. I don't know why they didn't put that on. Just add a little bit of cost for such a nice feature to have. And you can say, well, I don't need that. But if you have it, you might find yourself surprised how much you use it. Now, you do have several color options with your 850 Sport, but the ones that I tend to see more of are the Caspian Blue, which is like a graphite and blue color. They're nice looking bikes. I don't think they look tacky at all. Now, is this bike the one to buy of the three? That's up to you. I would have to say, for me, no. I like a bike that is really designed for kind of long road touring mixed with a little bit of off-road camping. I like the comforts. You know, you do another thing is there's a smaller screen on the 850 Sport, for example. Now that's not a big deal for me. There's that big giant one on the GT Pro and on the Rally Pro. It's awesome looking. It's super clear. The contrast is amazing. You get the older generation TFT on your 850 Sport. It's still clear. It's still plenty easy to see. It's just not quite the spectacle. So if that's not important to you, you know, this is a great way to not spend that money. So personally, I like cruise control, and I have to say I really kind of got used to liking the electronic suspension in the rear as well. So the point is find the bike that works for you. Always buy what you want, so try to make that work. Now if this bike is it and it meets your budget, great. I have nothing negative to say. It totally blew my expectations out of the water. I was ready to hate the bike initially because I thought it was just a detuned, you know, like when I first saw the story come out about this, I thought they did this for some licensing requirement in a country that I don't live in. But after riding it, again, it's like the same bike, and it just doesn't have cruise control. It's a wheelie monster. It's a hooligan bike. It's a grocery getter. It's a good commuter. You can do light touring on it. It's really a good all-around bike. So that's my 2 cents on the bike. Go test drive them as usual. Don't just go off of my opinion. But try them all out. Try the Rally, try the GT, try the 850 Sport, see what you think. So with that, love to see what you think down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.